Hey there, welcome to another episode of Football Everyday, coming to you live and direct from the studios here at Menara Star in PJ. My name is Nelsen. As usual, joining me today is Zack, Yusof, and Ben Ibrahim, whom we haven't seen in a while. Good to see you, mate. Well, over the weekend that was, we were treated to a mixture of FA Cup and league action. So let's start with Chelsea's 5-2 win over Leicester City. Guys, this game served up as something we haven't seen in a while, which is Fernando Torres scoring a goal, and well, not a goal, but 2 goals and 2 assists as well. So what a way to end his drought, right, Zack?
Yeah, amazing way to end his drought, and it's been a long time coming, as we all know. So for Chelsea fans, I guess they're hoping that this will be the start of the old Fernando returning to the fray. Yeah, the one that's so predatory in front of goal and so lethal. But before everyone starts going, "Oh, Fernando Torres, I love him," and that, got to remember that it was against so-called lesser opposition. So remains to be seen whether he can do it in the pressure cooker of the Prem. Right?
But Ben, speaking of Leicester, they did give a good account of themselves, and they scored a pair of nice goals as well.
Yeah.
But deserved result for
Jermaine
Chelsea.
Beckford, ex-Everton boy, so yes, we'd be on board on that one. But yeah, they gave a good account for themselves, let in 2 pretty soft goals, and it was an uphill battle from the 30th minute onwards. But to their credit, they fought on, but unfortunately, you're not good enough. They were not good enough.
So Chelsea into the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Liverpool joined Chelsea in the semis following an exciting 2-1 win over Stoke City at Anfield. That result sees the Reds heading to Wembley again. So should Kenny's men be confident of a domestic cup double, Zack?
Yeah, I guess they'll be feeling that this could be the year of the cups for Liverpool. I hear a lot of Liverpool fans are very excited about the way things are progressing at the moment. It's a return to the old trophy-winning ways. But we remains to be seen whether or not Liverpool can actually take that final step. Personally, I don't think they've been that convincing. Yes, they've done what it required to win the games, but we haven't seen Liverpool really dominate proceedings. Against Stoke, they had to battle for that result. So remains to be seen whether they can go all the way.
Alright, well, over at Goodison Park, Tim Cahill scored only his 2nd goal of the season, but it wasn't enough as the Toffees only managed a 1-1 draw against Sunderland and now face a replay, right? The home side, I heard, had quite a few chances to kill off the game.
It could have been 7-1.
A bit unlucky, right, Ben?
Yeah, it could have been 7-1. A bit unlucky, but I don't like that word unlucky. You've got to take your chances. And Johnny Heintiger, he could have won it in the dying minutes, but he didn't take his chance. And Everton, well, they've got to go home, lick their wounds, and they have to go to the Stadium of Light, which is not an easy place to win. So yeah, uphill battle. But I think with the way things are going, I think Everton can beat Sunderland. They're looking very, very fatigued at the moment, out of resources, just like how Martin O'Neill managed Aston Villa when Ashley Young was there.
If Everton do beat Sunderland, they will face Liverpool, and if Spurs beat Bolton, they face Chelsea. So
easy.
Two derbies in the FA Cup semi-finals.
It's
Zack, that's the magic of the
like
cup,
some
right?
dream FA Cup semi-finals. But I got to tell you, Nelson, I don't like this whole thing about play at Wembley in the semi-finals. Is Wembley meant for the final? If you get to play Wembley at the semi-final, it kind of takes away from the final.
The gloss,
right?
Yeah, the gloss.
Right.
That's just me
I get what you mean. Well,
yeah.
And the game between Spurs and Bolton, as we know, had to be abandoned after only 13 minutes as Fabrice Muamba unfortunately collapsed due to a heart attack, with the scores tied at 1-1. It was looking like a goal spree, right, Zack, until that unfortunate moment.
Yeah, but you never want to see that kind of thing happen on a football pitch. I think it does recall the whole Mark Vivian Foe incident.
Khalilou Fadiga as well.
And incidentally, one of Harry Redknapp's boys as well. So here's Redknapp involved in yet another cardiac arrest scenario. So he must be feeling awful. And our thoughts go out to Muamba, really. You don't want to see a 23 or 24-year-old fit young man in a situation like this. So hope he recovers.
Latest that he's talking again, right? So
that's
good news for the football.
Let's hope he recovers and he's back on the pitch.
Right. Well, from the FA Cup to the League, where Manchester United bounced back from their European exit by thrashing 10-man Wolves by 5-0. Ben, Wolves were disappointing once more, but good for performance all round from United, you think?
United were in cruise control. If they lost it, they should have gone home and say, look, and hand the City the title with about 8-9 games to go. But Wolves were horrible defensively. They were horrible. Hernandez, the goals that he scored, they were soft. Valencia, okay, they were down to 10 men at that time. Valencia, they should have tracked them a lot better. Wayne Rooney was playing the playmaker role.
Yeah, so United scored 5 goals and Rooney didn't even get the score sheet, right?
But United were in cruise control. That goes to show you that United also themselves, need to fix themselves defensively because against Atletico, they were
in shambles,
shocking.
Right? Well, I mean, speaking of Hernandez and Rooney, Zack, latest in terms of team news is that Dimitar Berbatov's agent has confirmed that the Bulgarian is set to leave Old Trafford come season end. So your thoughts on that, Zack?
Yeah, it's a bit sad to see Dimitar's United career kind of tail off like
Everton,
that.
perhaps?
Everton could do worse, but I tell you, it doesn't mean that it's a failure for Berbatov. I think it's just a situation where he's got younger men in front of him. It doesn't take away from the fact...
And we know Fergie plans for the future, right?
Exactly, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Berbatov on his day is still one of the most potent strikers in the Prem.
Skillful man.
Yep.
I think
I totally agree. I'm sad to see him go.
He needs to play every week at his age, so it's best he leaves.
All right. Well, another exciting match. I saw Newcastle end a 5-game winless streak by seeing off Norwich City by a single goal, which came courtesy of Papis Demba Cisse. Alan Pardew's men, again, just like Everton in the FA Cup, could have had more, right? If not for the heroics of John Ruddy in the Norwich goal.
Yeah, the Norwich goalkeeper had a fantastic game. But Alan Pardew said after the game in the press conference, that was ugly. But I'm here, I'm paid to make the team win. So I don't care how we win, we won. But they should have won by more. And Norwich had a great game.
But a win's a win, right?
But Norwich could have snapped that game in the dying seconds. It could have been 1-1 or could have been even 2-1.
Yeah.
But Newcastle rode their luck.
That's football, right?
Yeah, that's football.
Well, a quick one before the break, Zack. I'm at Craven Cottage. Martin Yol's Fulham surprisingly were handed a 3-0 defeat by impressive Swansea. I mean, look,
and the telling thing about this, I read an amazing stat. Swansea City had 68% of possession in that game. They really gave Martin Yol's team a run around, and it's not easy to do that to any team at Craven Cottage, right? So the Swans, they played the game of their lives.
This is the best thing about the win. The win has taken them up to 8th in the table. I mean,
68% of possession away from home. That's United, Man United, Chelsea, the top four kind of stat, right? Yeah.
All right. Nice one. Hold on to your thoughts as it is time for our customary break on the show. We'll be right back with more chat and banter as well as a look at this weekend's eye-catching fixtures. So stay tuned to Football Everyday. We'll see you real soon. Welcome back to Football Everyday here in the second and final segment of the show. Speaking of league games and results, one game was played this morning where at Ewood Park, Blackburn pulled 6 points clear of the relegation zone following a 2-0 win over Sunderland. Vital win for Steve Keane's men, Ben.
Very much so, because the Indian owners of this team, the Venki brothers, have backed him from the word go. Even though his head was on the chopping block during Christmas, they kept saying, this guy's got a vision. And I think that vision is slowly taking its place because he's realistic and he can take the pressure. So kudos to him.
I mean, the second goal was scored by Yakubu, Zack. I mean, so speaking of Indian men and Indian owners and chicken.
Well, I'm surprised he got any chicken left, Nelson, with Yakubu in the team, But I think he prefers pies. But anyway, I mean, Yakubu, he's a man that's really haunted me this whole season, as an Evertonian. You never want to see one of your ex-players whom you gave away on the cheap go on to have such a season, but I mean,
we always knew he was capable of that, right?
But Yakubu, one thing though, I've got to tell you, he's a one-season guy. I mean, he likes to move clubs a lot, and he likes to have sparkling first seasons with those clubs, and then expect him to tail off next year.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, good result for Blackburn. More games will take place this weekend with a London derby at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Spurs taking centre stage, guys. After AVB, RDM has come in and seems to have injected some, would you say, self-belief and confidence into the Blues? And Spurs are still on a bit of a downfall.
Yeah, it's a strange one with Di Matteo, Nelson, because I really personally have a feeling he hasn't really done anything astoundingly different from Villas-Boas. But what he has done is maybe appeal to the sense of loyalty of the players. I think the players really did let themselves down, I mean, having got that man sacked, Villas-Boas, right? I mean, Di Matteo's come in, he's probably played on their loyalty and played on their professionalism. I think the Chelsea players have had to react. They would have reacted if I was in charge, you know what I mean?
So depending on their result against City this morning, would you say the advantage against Spurs is with Chelsea's at?
Well, the results would point towards that. But I would say, I think Chelsea better hold off on the parade until they do Spurs. That would really confirm the fact that they're back on the right track.
I mean, would your thoughts echo Zack, Ben?
Yes and no. I think Di Matteo, he had that R word going for him, and that's relationship. He had a better relationship with the English players, Lampard, John Terry, Ashley Young. Even though John Terry said the PR thing, oh, he's not like that, blah, 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 blah. That's a bit of hocus pocus. Look, they had a torrid relationship with him. That's why Torres was not firing. So, he's reinstated. He even came out and said the other day, I don't have friends in life. But he's shown he's got a bit of friendship factor in his management style. So he said to the English players, okay, I'll promote you. And all the Portuguese players, I'll demote you. So that had a good impact on the dressing room, and the results are showing.
But it remains to be seen.
I agree with Zack on that point. It remains to be seen, and I think this match is heading for a draw.
Wow, another draw.
Yeah, another draw. A lot of draws coming up.
Yeah. Over at the Emirates, Arsenal play host to your team. That's this morning. Sorry, struggling Aston Villa. In fact, Villa are 11 points clear of the relegation zone. But surely the club's fans expect them to be higher than 15th, right, Zack? I mean, that's where they are now.
Yeah. I think that's behind the whole problem between the relationship between McLeish and the Villa fans. They've never liked the guy. I think his Birmingham connection hasn't helped him.
True.
But had he got off to a winning start and he got Villa playing the kind of football that the fans want, the whole Birmingham thing would
have been forgotten, right?
Just cast off.
And it's not going to help that Darren Bent's out for the season.
No, it's not going to help, and you have Nzogbia.
Who blows hot and cold.
What a prima donna this guy is, Nzogbia. So glad my club didn't sign him, but that guy's been talking a bit of nonsense in the press about his coach and all this kind of business. I think McLeish, mate, he's on thin ice. So he has to get through this season and pray that he's in.
It's probably going to be a defeat against Arsenal, right? At the Emirates,
I think Villa have to play out of their skins, Nelson, to get anything from this game.
Right. Yeah. Well, meanwhile, a massive relegation 6-pointer at the Reebok pits, Bolton and Blackburn Rovers. We know Kevin Davies and company are still recovering from the whole Muamba fiasco, but might this be a distraction, perhaps, against Steve Kean's men?
Definitely. The average age in this Bolton squad is about 23, 24, young squad. They even came out in the media and said, look, we're scared. We want to postpone some of the games. We even want to walk out possibly of the FA Cup. That's suicide talk in the world of professional sports. So yes, this timing is everything they say in life, and the timing here is not great. And I think that will affect the Bolton team, the way they play. They'll play very conservative. Their passing...
but if you look at it the other way, they could use his absence as an inspiration.
It could work either way, but when you're going into a game, when you've cancelled your football games, and this weekend you're playing, and you said, we're shaken... Obviously, the opposition is going to take advantage of you. But it's not confirmed
this game is going to go on, right? It's still up in the...
Well, the one against Villa this morning was postponed last night.
Which is one coach they're talking about that. So
we'll see what happens. Well, in terms of the title race, moving along, Manchester City travel to the Britannia to face Tony Pulis's Stoke City. We know the Potters are capable of giving most teams a run for their money on the day, but this season, Zack, they've not been as good as they were the past 2 years. Right?
Yeah, and there's one very simple reason for that. The Europa League. I read a stat. Stoke's played 49 games already this season. They've had a long season, right? I think fatigue is starting to set in. They haven't got the hugest squad in the world, so this is practically play the same guys for 49 games.
But very quickly, can you see City picking up a win here? Especially with all the hype centered around the rumoured return of Carlos Tevez to the side.
It's going to be a draw, 0-0. Stoke are going to do what they did against Chelsea at the start of the season, park the bus in front of the goal.
You seem to love draws, Ben?
I love draws this weekend. I'm a realist, and I have to say, I've been getting it right this last couple of weeks.
Just before we wrap up, a quick one. While City plays Stoke, leaders Man United have a tricky one at home to Martignol's Fulham. Fergie's men quite easily won by 5-0 at Craven Cottage back in December. But Fulham, we know, were just beaten by Swansea at home. So, Zack...
Yeah, well, you got the bounce back factor working for Fulham. They've had their bottom severely spanked in front of their own people as well, so they won't be too happy about that. They'll be looking to show the coach that they are decent footballers. But as far as United's concerned, they may arrive at this game being trailing Man City. If Man City win their next 2 games, they're back on top. So all to play for United. I think Rio said they've got 9 cup finals now.
Yeah.
So they're going to
and there's nothing left to concentrate to focus on.
One thing United know how to do is that final furlong of sprinting.
Stretch,
Yeah. So they're going to play like
United
their
win
lives.
It's going to be a defeat for Fulham. hard,
Right.
very, very hard fought match, but 2-0
to United.
Manchester United.
So no draws there, eh?
No draws there.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for your thoughts, guys. It is time to say goodbye, but before we do so, do check out the contest that's running on football.thestar.com.my, where loads of monthly prizes from Tiger FC, SenQ and Adidas are up for grabs on top of FA Cup final tickets, courtesy of Astro and Emirates. Send us an email at football@thestar.com.my as well. Till we see you next week, same time, same place. It's bye from us from Football Everyday. See you next week.
Catch you later, everybody.